tere! Oleme eetris Loomus Akadeemias ja täna on külas Renata. Hello, Renata.
Hello.
I'm Farishtamo Eller and I'm from Loomus, and we are going to talk today with Renata a little bit about her journey, about sanctuaries and disabilities, and maybe even a little bit about if animal rights are really radical. So first, Renata, who are you?
My name is Renata, and I am a Polish girl that has lived in the United Kingdom now for 18 years. And at the moment I work as a lecturer at University College London, teaching courses in audiovisual translation with special interest in subtitling for deaf and hard of hearing people. And I also work in a special needs school, teaching students mainly with autism.
Mm-hmm. And how did you end up doing these things, what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. So I started getting more interested in the field of animal ethics and animal studies when I was transitioning to veganism about 5-6 years ago. Like everyone else, I was watching documentaries, reading and making connections between veganism and our health, the health of the planet, and obviously all the sentient beings that live here. And as I was getting more interested in the issue, I wanted to find out more about the other animals. And obviously I watched all the videos about animal agriculture, what it means. That was naturally breaking my heart. I saw animals that I was basically that I was eating and paying others to kill for me to eat. I saw them as sentient beings. I saw that they could feel pain and joy, that they were able to form relationships and look after their young, and so much more. And I also wanted to see, apart from these videos about animal agriculture, I wanted to see them living and thriving in some places. And animal sanctuaries were these places. So that's when I started visiting animal sanctuaries, and that's when I wanted to volunteer there as well a bit more.
Mm-hmm. How did you volunteer there?
So the first actually a sanctuary was when we were trying to find a place to go on holidays, and I think that I found a sanctuary in Mallorca. That was the first sanctuary, and it's very special to my heart. And we just went there, contacted the lady that runs it. The sanctuary is called Eden, and it is run by solo by one superhero woman, as I call her, Nicole, who caters for about 60 animals of 10 different species. And she let us basically be there and volunteer for about a week. We visited them now a few times, and that is where I started to really see like the relationships between the animals, between humans and other animals. And if you don't mind, I would like to share a few pictures and maybe videos of these, of some of these animals at least, because I think that it's extremely important to, when we talk about animal rights movement, when we talk about animals in general, to actually talk about individuals and our relationships with them. I think that that's you know, something that movements like ecofeminism or eco-ability talk about, and I think that that's quite important for me too. So if I can share screen and talk about a few of those very special sentient beings. So here we've got Tina, the donkey that is eating from a bucket here. She's about 30 years old, and she was rescued from a man who couldn't cater for her anymore. She had really overgrown hooves and couldn't stand for a while, so it took a long time for Nicole and the team, the vets, obviously, to help her live her best life which she does at the moment, and she's a wonderful soul, very friendly with everybody, and even lets us brush her fur every day. And behind her is a Prince, a donkey who is much more fearful of humans and interacting with them. Maybe he's gone through some trauma. We're not really sure, but that's okay. You know, he doesn't want to spend that much time with humans, and he can do that in the sanctuary. You know, he's very happy next to Tina. So that's two of them. There I also met Merlina and Magic, two very special cats. They are, they've got what is called cerebellar hypoplasia, which is a wobbly cat syndrome. As you can see, they, you know, wobble when they walk, but still they live, you know, very happy lives. And Merlina here, I've got another video when she very clearly shows me, just a second. I don't think that I can, sorry, I don't think that I can share it at the moment, can I?
Okay, till you're looking for it, just one thought what came to my mind is that very often it seems that for people, pets are some kind of things, and they have to be able to touch all the time or to pet all the time, and these pets kind of have to be friendly and they have to be nice. I have this personal experience that a cat who lives now with us, she was also in kind of not sanctuary, but you know where the cats are before they get
shelter,
home.
pet shelter.
Yeah, in a shelter, exactly. And then the letter what we got was that, yeah, nobody wants him. It's him, yeah. Nobody wants him because he is not friendly at all with people. He's is so much afraid. And yeah, this
exactly,
is something.
that's a great point. They, you know, we always like, you know, take, you know, a dog that is, you know, the most friendly or whatever, but we don't really appreciate that they've got different characters. And if they don't need the interaction with us that much, you know, why would we? It's the same with us, you know, we might not want to interact with some people or with people at all for a bit. So here I found the video. Here's Merlina, who's showing me very clearly that, you know, how she wants me to touch her or doesn't want me to touch her, and you know, leading her way. And I think that that's what it is. And if we spend time in places like, you know, with our pets as well at homes, but also in animal sanctuaries, then we can see, you know, that how these relationships can develop. If animals allow us, I think that we should be very lucky if they allow us to, you know, be close to them and spend some time with them.
It's a little bit like with babies, isn't it? Because also babies, people think that they all can touch the babies. Like, why? No,
yes.
Don't do that.
Yes, exactly. Why? And they cannot say, you know, they cannot run away maybe yet. Yes. So
yeah. And if they don't let, then very often parents or relatives, they can't understand that why don't you like it? It's like, if they don't want to be touched, then please don't touch. It's like with animals.
Yes, exactly. It's just like an little, you know, little objects that they should be like, you know, very, very good to us. So the last one is here. I don't know if we can you see it now?
Yes, chicken.
Okay, so that is Jane, who is a hen that, you know, like in animal sanctuaries, usually either volunteers or whoever runs the sanctuary would every day go around and collect the eggs and then give the eggs back to the chickens. But this time Jane, you know, she was having her eggs taken on a daily basis, but we think that maybe at some point she decided that she wanted to have babies. So she ran to the neighbors, which she hadn't done before. She ran to the neighbors and she was sitting on the eggs until she came back with, with her babies, and it just shows that they have their own agency, and they just, they do eventually what they feel that they've got the right to do.
So in sanctuaries, basically, hens can't have babies, do they? Or is it different every time?
So I think that the idea is that the sanctuaries, because they already have quite a few animals, they just basically do not want to have more animals, or they don't want to breed animals in a way. So if all the eggs, if the hens were sitting on them, they would have like many more. But to be honest, if the eggs are very nutritional for the chickens themselves, so it's not about the fact that we collect the eggs just like from the backyard hens, and then we eat them because that's theirs. So if we actually give it back to the chickens, they can replenish their they can get the nutrients from the eggs. And
how is this process, giving back the eggs?
So basically you just take the egg, break it, and then throw it to them, and they eat them.
So you throw it, and like you give some seeds, you just also give eggs?
No, we just break the egg and then throw it for the chickens, and then they eat the eggs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and I do like them.
Yeah, but you also told a little bit about disabilities, because animals who end up in sanctuaries are not so well often.
Yes, so actually when I was visiting and spending time in these animal sanctuaries, I realized that quite a high percentage of animals in the sanctuaries were disabled animals, because they were either given up by the farmers because they were not profitable to them anymore, or maybe like in the case of Tina, they couldn't, whoever was looking after her couldn't look after her anymore. Maybe they were sick or injured, and the cost of the treatment would be very high. So people just prefer to either leave them on the road, and if they are good, I think that they would try to find a sanctuary nearby. So I thought in a way that how lucky these animals were, in a way that their disability or sickness or any condition secured them a place in a sanctuary where they can live freely for the rest of their lives. So and also how animal sanctuaries are places where animals, disabled or not, sick or not, or old or not, are welcomed. Yes, I thought that that was really like seeing animal sanctuaries as these very, very unique places.
Mm-hmm. But how many sanctuaries there are in the world, or is it something that many people are having?
So at the moment, I don't know how many animal sanctuaries or there are in the world. I think that the number is definitely increasing. The problem is obviously of maintaining these animal sanctuaries, and it is an extremely hard job. I mean, I've got maybe a bit of a closer connection with Nicole, and I see on a daily basis how much she struggles with running the sanctuary. And even if we just go on Facebook and see, every day, basically the sanctuary owners and volunteers just cry for help, for any donations, because it is really, really costly to run them. As we say, these animals are quite often sick, require very expensive treatment, but even the food and providing shelter for these animals it's very expensive. So that is I think that that is the problem. And if only we could have, you know, some kind of subsidies, let's say, that at the moment, like meat and dairy industries are in a way that, you know, how they are subsidized. If animal sanctuaries could be subsidized, then I think that we could see a bit of a better future, much brighter future. But at the moment, it's very hard. I mean, some things are changing, I would say. Only yesterday, I took part in an online launch of a new project. What was it called? The Vegan Stay. Sorry, I just didn't remember. The Vegan Stay. And what they want to do is they want to put on one platform all the accommodation that would be vegan, and also list sanctuaries that would be in the neighborhood of these places, maybe vegan events. And basically, if we as vegans, you know, travel around, we can stay in these places, and then part of the fees would go to animal sanctuaries. So it is one way of obviously maybe not a big thing yet, but let's hope that it would grow, and that would be one way of funding these sanctuaries. But let's hope that the more they grow, and you know, people, instead of going and visiting the zoos, for example, and farms, if they go to animal sanctuaries and support them, then this change could come sooner.
Yeah, this is a kind of change of mind, right? Because also zoos, they nowadays try to explain that they are working towards keeping some animals alive who are maybe extinct in the world or so on. But in sanctuaries, whenever people go there, it's not probably for seeing an animal or for entertainment, but really for helping these animals. So the starting point is very different, where these two institutions stand.
Yes, of course. And some of them, they have, like, you know, different educational programs. They start to develop those, and this is really nice to see. They've got different tours around the sanctuaries, for example, as well. But this is all thought about with the animals as, you know, in the center. So if the animals do not want to come close and, you know, play with humans or whatever, they are allowed to do that. And some of them do crave human contact, and that's fine, but some don't. And on a tour like this, hopefully, you know, it's possible to explain it to the visitors and talk about these animals. And zoos, yes, quite often now I think that they see the change, and then they say that they are trying to preserve the exotic species. How true it is, I'm not sure. I think that from what I hear and read, maybe that they just want to use, like, you know, one whatever species it is, and the others they just keep for entertainment of humans, and these animals are just basically kept there, like as in prisons. And I don't think that the welfare of these animals is really their priority. The priority might be just to earn money, basically, and to show. I think that some time ago, a few years ago, I've heard of a project that was actually looking at the educational value of zoos. And it turned out that the children later on actually didn't get much from, you know, visiting a zoo, because sometimes I hear parents saying that, oh, you know, like, I would like my child to see a zebra, a bear, or whatever, and they are, you know, in real life, and well, they are never in their natural environment. So, and how they behave is very different to how they would behave at home. So I'm not really sure how it can be educational. I mean, it's probably much better to watch a video, you know, of bears or giraffes or whatever living in their natural environments.
Yeah, and it's also what we teach to our kids. If we teach that it is okay to keep other species in a cage, even if this cage is a very huge cage, then still we are teaching this kind of mentality that people can use other species, and maybe that shouldn't be the thing we want to teach them.
Yes, exactly. And then that's when it becomes normalized, right? And that's when we've got different toys that basically normalize our, use commodification of these animals. I mean, now I think that there was a display in Poland about how can I describe it properly? I'm not sure. Basically about all the different toys that we have at the moment that, teach and normalize our use of animals. So there were like little plastic cages, with a little bird inside, or, a pony that, we like toy pony, a pony toy that we used to ride, and this rocking pony, and we thought, oh, how cute is that? Is it really cute? It just shows us that we can use these animals. So yes, definitely, I think that if we stop and start thinking about it really, then it would make sense. But I hope that museum expositions like this maybe would be happening more often, and the more we talk about it, the more we draw people's attention to it, the better, obviously. And maybe at some point more people start thinking about this and these connections.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds a bit like these sanctuaries also. There is this question, where is zoo going, or how should a zoo develop in a future? Right now, listening to you, one way maybe could be this kind of sanctuary thinking, that even if zoo wants to have this kind of part that really preserving some kind of species, and then taking them back or not taking them back because there are maybe no place to live for them anymore, then still the starting point, as we talked before, should be different. It is very much about the animal and giving to the animal the place to live, not about the people who have the possibility to use the animal for their entertainment.
Yes, exactly. And not to, just to get whatever animals are or bring more profit to the zoo, and just breeding those animals that can bring profit, but then the others, if there is no need for this species to live for something, then they would be killed or whatever. So yes, I think that definitely, hopefully, the mindset would need to change. And I think that if people would start visiting more animal sanctuaries and showing that this is the kind of education that they want for their children as well, then maybe the zoos would start thinking about it as well, and try to transition somehow. I'm not sure how.
That also means the part where you talked about the money and how the subsidies are going to the dairy and meat industry, that they should maybe go to sanctuaries. Also, the money, usually states are probably giving money to the zoos, so this kind of thinking should also then change, and the expectation. So this is kind of the mindset and also the system what needs to change, so that people wouldn't be those or this species that can use others for their own.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay, but about disabilities, let's come back there. It was very interesting what you said when we were talking before, how volunteers also can help and how they are chosen.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so as we know, animal sanctuaries rely on volunteering a lot, of course. And I was wondering, you know, if they are equally accessible to volunteers with different disabilities and conditions. So I thought that it would be an interesting project to explore the accessibility or inclusivity of animal sanctuaries from their and volunteers' point of view. So at the moment, I'm conducting interviews with both sides to hear their perspectives and then share findings, hopefully good examples of practice as well, so that it can be more visible and praised, because what I see at the moment is from the interviews, I just don't want to disclose too much, but I'll say it very briefly, that, for example, people who are, you know, suffer from chronic fatigue or are neurodivergent people, they don't always want to disclose their condition, because then they think that they might not be that useful as volunteers, and then they prefer to kind of try to work through it. So even if they you know, suffer from this chronic fatigue syndrome or have got a condition that doesn't let them, you know, work physically for, let's say, 4 or 5 hours, then they would still try to do it, or they wouldn't apply at all. So it's either or. And when I talk to animal sanctuaries, most of them, I think that all of them, to be honest, are very open to different, you know, different groups of people. And they say that, yes, that there would always be something for everybody. So even if somebody is not able to, you know, physically work for a couple of hours, or, you know, 6 hours sometimes, you know, work at animal sanctuary can be quite hard, then they might come and, you know, do other things like, I don't know, make cups of tea for other volunteers, or, you know, spend some time with animals who crave human contact. So there's always something for different people if they all only want to do it. But I don't think that this information is very visible. So, you know, that's what they're saying. But when they advertise, let's say, a volunteer working day, or sometimes even on their website, there are some sanctuaries that do it, and then they will state very clearly that, you know, they are very open to different groups, and if you've got a certain condition or disability, please let us know, and we'll see how we can cater for it, but not all of them. So I think that if this information was more visible, then people with different disabilities or functional diversities, I've recently learned this word, and I think that it maybe could be used more often, would be more encouraged to apply, and would be more encouraged to take part, and that would increase as well the diversity of in animal sanctuaries. I see animal sanctuaries as heralds of change, really, as the world of the future, however idealistic it may seem now. I think that these are the places where humans and non-humans can live, you know, next to one another in peace, when they can help one another when necessary, not feeling pity to one another, and not being patronizing to one another, but when needed, offering a helping hand, and celebrating diversity as well. So that's what I mentioned before, that you know, that's why I like these movements like ecofeminism, ecoability, because they do talk about it. They do celebrate relationships, individual relationships, diversity, and all these things. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds very good, and gives a lot of ideas also here in Estonia, because it is right, I think, that it's not very visible, but of course maybe it's only because people who don't have these disabilities, for them it is not part of life. So it's not that they don't want to take other people, but it just doesn't come to mind. It's just not there. So I think it's very good that you are doing this and telling about it, so that other people will think, oh yeah, wow, that is a good idea. Actually.
Yes, exactly. That's very true. It's not that, you know, there are, bad people that they don't want to welcome these things, but they're just not aware. They haven't come across it. Or, one animal sanctuary owner said to me that, only after meeting a neurodivergent volunteer, she added to the volunteer form, one question: do you have any condition, and please let us know, what it is, so that we know how to cater for it and stuff. So I think that it's quite important to talk about it and make people aware. As I say, they all want to, welcome different groups of people. It's just that they're not always aware of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How is it? It seems to me right now, when we are talking that sanctuaries, this idea is vegan. So basically, sanctuary is always vegan in mentality. Is it so in your experience?
So I would want, yes, obviously all animal sanctuaries, especially those that cater for different species, to be vegan. I don't think how it could be okay for an animal sanctuary to rescue different species of animals, and at the same time for humans to consume those animals. I've heard of cases of animal sanctuaries here in the UK that would, for example, organize a fete or an event where they would serve other animals, and I find it absolutely it's beyond my comprehension. I guess I really do not understand how it can happen, and I don't know if they don't realize. I think that if they don't realize it, maybe they would be open for discussion and pointing that out. But sometimes they just think that that's absolutely okay because they can get maybe more people. But I think that if the ethics is not there, then I wouldn't. I don't understand how it can be that they cater for these animals that they have, but yet they eat other animals. I mean, we can see that a lot. Obviously, that's slightly diverting from animal sanctuaries per se, but like there are is so-called wildlife rescues, right? And these usually welcome lots of different wild species, and they are great at rescuing them and looking after them and so on and so forth. And obviously there are lots of volunteers who love wildlife. I mean, here in the UK, it's really, British people are big lovers of wildlife. And recently, me and my partner went to an open day of one wildlife center, and we couldn't find one stand there that would not serve meat or dead animals, and I couldn't believe it, really. And yeah, obviously as one of the actions there as well, we wrote some questions and comments, and then on their social media platforms as well. I do appreciate really what they do. I mean, we've taken different birds to them and always got help. So they do a lot of great work. It's just such a shame that humans who don't need to eat these animals were fed other dead animals while wildlife was rescued next door. So yes, I find it very, very, very strange to understand.
Yeah, I have seen the same. My question was also because I have heard a lot this kind of thing that, yeah, this hen or chicken, they already lay these eggs, so why not to eat them? I think I have come across some places where the main idea is a lot of like sanctuary, but except this egg thing, for example, or some dairy thing.
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, when they don't maybe cook themselves and they just make a party and invite someone to do the catering, then they don't pay attention what will be served because no energy, someone else is taken care of, or someone else takes care of it, and they just pay for it. So these kind of details can be really strange when you see them from outside.
Yes, yes, definitely. I think that, but I think that people who look after animals and who care for animals, they have to see it more as a whole, and not only unless we're only, you know, just looking after these, I don't know, however many cats and dogs, and we don't care about any other animals, then, you know, how can we explain it? I'm not sure of, as I say, eating other animals. But with the eggs, I think it's just the idea of, because I had the very same question at the beginning of my vegan journey, and I was thinking, you know, I always liked eggs. You know, why not if they've already laid them? Like, what's the problem? But it's just a question of also like taking something from the animal that the animal could use, and we are taking it from them. So why? It's not ours. Why do we, you know, promote this idea or perpetuate this idea that we can take something from them if they can eat it and actually replenish their vitamins and whatever nutrients they have in this egg? So that's what made me like, you know, stop as well. And
so yes, probably it's the same with honey for you.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's not ours. I mean, to be honest, with honey as well, I mean, the bees have got a extremely hard life at the moment, I would say. And, you know, when we hear about, you know, that's for, I think that one life, it takes one life of one bee, I think, to produce like half a teaspoon of honey or something. So, you know, we just don't have the right to take anything from them that they work so hard for, and that's for them. That's their food. That's for them, and we don't need to. Honestly, we live in the, you know, us living in this world here. We've got so many, like we've got plants and we can make basically anything. That we don't need to use other animals.
Mm-hmm. Do you have something else what you want to share before we finish our talk for today?
No, I think that was it, I guess. Yeah.
And do you have, let's say, some suggestion of a book or whatever, video, movie, talk for us?
So I think that maybe not like the book. I think that there is a new book that I'm just reading at the moment that is Animal Crisis, but Alice Crary and Laurie Gruen, and they talk about the new critical theory. So I think that would be one thing.
Can you show it a little bit like longer so we can see it? Thank you. Mm-hmm.
So yes, I'm very interested about what they talk about. As I say, Laurie Gruen talks a lot about ecofeminism. I really like Nutella and talking about eco-ability. So if anybody is interested in this, then if you just type in eco-ability movement in Google, then you can find lots of information about it. And it's basically all about us living in a world where we praise interdependency. We're all dependent on one another, you know, with or without disabilities. I mean, we have to understand that, you know, one day I may live without certain disabilities, and tomorrow, if something happens, you know, I might be not able to move or whatever. So we can and I might need more support from others. And I think that it's important to think about it as well. But at the same time, you know, allowing people to live their lives how they want to. So not like, as I said before, not feeling pity, not like just, oh, I'll help you in whatever, you know, situation they might or might not need our help, but letting them to decide. And that's that is, you know, with animals, as we said, you know, whether they want to come and spend time with us or not, then that's okay. And whether, you know, somebody needs help from somebody else, then that's okay. If they need to, if they don't, then just, you know, let them be. So this interdependency and care is really highlighted in this movement. So I quite like it.
Thank you, Renata, for talking with me and for doing what you do. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.